Hello, my name is Camila, and I'm going to be presenting my evidence one from the effective presentations workshops, more specifically from module one. This is just a brief index of what I'm going to be addressing right now in the presentation. Now, as an introduction, an effective presentation is this presentation that you give to the audience to be a proper one, to having this achievement or sense of purpose, to engage with the audience so you can make an impactful and memorable presentation. And in order to do that, you have to develop these important aspects, for example, the planning, the type of presentation, your skills, among many others. Then we have the art of planning, which every successful presentation starts with planning because it helps you to organize your ideas, set clear objectives, and prepare your content. And these are the main steps that I think you should follow, which is the purpose and objective, to know your audience, define your topic, arrange your material, compose your presentation to make them like a sense of order, create visual aids, practice, make necessary adjustments, analyze the room which you're gonna give the presentation so you can measure the space and practice again. So you don't forget about anything. Then we have the type of presentations you can choose from depending on what you want to present. First one being informative, which this one is giving just facts, details, information. It can be a job meeting or a conference. Then we have the persuasive, which is make the audience agree with you, buy or sell something. For example, me as a nutrition student, I once was in a classroom full of elementary kids, and I was persuading them of how to eat better and adopt healthier habits. Then we have the goodwill, which is seeks to entertain the audience by making them feel better, for example, the Oscars or the Grammys. Then we have the multi-purpose one, which is when they have more than one purpose. And in this one, it is essential to consider to organize them by the least to the most important one to make at the last like the more impact and keep the audience interested. This can be a dinner job meeting, for example, like a party. Then we have the instructional, which is to deliver knowledge to the people in a certain order so they can follow directions or steps. For example, a recipe cookbook. Then we have the arousing, which is make the audience to care or notice about a certain problematic or situation by showing them directly. For example, global warming, wars, and many others. We have the decision making, which is to move people to the right direction by comparing, showing them these ideas and suggestions and strong arguments so they can follow the right path and we can persuade them. And then we have other, which are the combinations of other types of presentations to achieve one purpose. For example, decision making and persuasion, which is to give them this right path or achieve your purpose. Just an example. Then we have the communication skills, which are first the verbal clarity to clear articulation, the proper pacing, and then we have nonverbal cues, which is the eye contact, the hand movement and placement, and also your gestures. Then we have the active listening, which is especially in the Q&A sessions, the confidence and pacing, which is practice well enough so you can feel confident about what you're saying and not feeling rushed or pressure. Then the successful audience is always going to be the favorable because they're the ones that are more likely to agree with you. But we know that's not always the case. So you have to consider to use the right language, to focus on what the audience value, to give them a new angle of the topic, choose relevant visuals or examples to keep them more entertained or interested, and show them that they have the power of choice. That's why you have to always get to know your audience so you can know how to properly address to them. Then I have these skills that I think I need to improve, which is the verbal comprehension, because sometimes I tend to not understand what people are trying to tell me because I'm more of a visual learner. And also the audience engagement, which is to connect with people throughout your presentation. I think I do lack of that because sometimes I don't know how to be more humoristic or to engage properly with them. Then my abilities that I consider that I have is creativity or being creative, because I have the capacity to generate new ideas, solutions, and also bring this artsy style to the presentations or situations. Also the resilience, because I don't give up easily. I recover quickly from difficulties, and also the problem solving, which I think I have the capacity of identifying and analyze and resolve challenges. As a conclusion, I think it's very important to create an effective presentation. You need to know your plan by showing your purpose, also a way as well to know or to choose the adequate type of presentation, use the right skill communications, and lastly, research about your audience so you can properly know how to address to them and keep them interested. Successful presentations are not about flashy slides and colorful pictures and many words. They're about understanding your goal, the message, and your audience, generating a memorable and impactful or an impact in others' lives. And thank you for your attention.